Hey YouTube, in the last video we have speak about Samsung company. In this video I will speak about another multinational company, namely Apple Inc. Apple Incorporated is an American multinational technology company headquartered in Cupertino, California. It is considered one of the big four tech companies along with Amazon, Google, and Facebook. Recognized for his popularity on various domains like computer hardware, software, mobile devices, and music players, Apple sells their products all around the world. Apple Computers Incorporated was founded on April 1, 1976, by college dropouts Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, who brought to the new company a vision of changing the way people viewed computers. Jobs and Wozniak wanted to make computers small enough for people to have them in their homes or offices. Simply put, they wanted a computer that was user-friendly. Jobs and Wozniak started out building the Apple I in Jobs' garage and sold them without a monitor, keyboard, or casing, which they decided to add on in 1977. The Apple II revolutionized the computer industry with the introduction of the first ever color graphics. One sales jumped from $7.8 million in 1978 to $117 million in 1980, the year Apple went public. 2. Through the rest of the 1980s, Apple was still doing well, and in 1990 it posted its highest profits yet. This was, however, mostly due to the plans that Jobs had already set in motion before he left, most notably his deal with a tiny company by the name of Adobe, creator of the Adobe Portable Document Format, PDF. Together the two companies created the phenomenon known as desktop publishing. 4 Back in 1985 Scully turned down an appeal from Microsoft founder Bill Gates to license its software. This decision would later come back to haunt him because Microsoft, whose Windows operating system, OS, featured a graphical interface similar to Apple's, became their toughest competition in the late 1980s and throughout the 1990s. Jobs decided to make some changes around Apple. He forged an alliance with Microsoft to create a Mac version of its popular Office software. Not long after this decision was the turning point for the company. Jobs revamped the computers and introduced the iBook, a personal laptop. He also started branching out into MP3 players, iPod. Apple has also released the iPhone, a cellular phone, and the Apple TV. While Steve Jobs died October 5, 2011, Apple continues on with his legacy. And now let's speak about some facts about the company. The name Apple came from the founder Steve Jobs' like of the fruit. Mystery surrounded the reason for the name Apple, but in truth it was just a fruit that Jobs liked and named the company after that. The next facts is that Apple had 3 co-founders. The third co-founder, a man named Ronald Wayne, had joined co-founders, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, but he left the company only 12 days after it was founded. He sold his 10% share for only $800 and got an additional payout of $1,500. Had Wayne stayed with the company, his shares would be worth today around $60 billion. Another fact is that Apple is so successful, that in the first quarter of 2014, it made more money than Amazon, Google, and Facebook combined. It turns out that the Apple logo is not nearly as big a deal as some would like to believe. According to Jobs, he was inspired to use an apple after visiting an apple farm because the fruit was fun, spirited and not intimidating. It was widely speculated that the bite in the apple was a tribute to Alan Turing, the founder of computing, who had committed suicide by consuming cyanide. A half-eaten apple was found next to his body. But the company insists this is not the case and that the bite was added to the apple so it would not be confused with the cherry. In fact, by 1997, Apple's financial situation was so dire that Dell CEO and founder Michael Dell, one of Microsoft's biggest partners, once said that if he were in Jobs' shoes, he'd shut it down and give the money back to the shareholders. Apple Incorporated is the largest technology company in the world and is the second largest cell phone manufacturer next to Samsung. For the 2017 fiscal year, the company reported an annual revenue of $229 billion. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak were both just 20 years old when they decided to found Apple. Since neither one of them had any money, Jobs sold his VW microbus and Wozniak sold his Hewlett-Packard calculator to get the $1,350 in capital that they needed. In 1996, Apple made its one and only foray into the home gaming market with the release of its Pippin console. Computer experts generally believe that there was nothing technically wrong with the product, but that the market was already too saturated for it to break through. When Apple launched the iPhone 4S, it came with a fun new feature. Siri is the voice-controlled personal assistant that comes with all new Apple devices, and throughout the years, her intelligence and capabilities have grown. Siri can handle most personal needs like setting reminders, making phone calls, keeping lists, and providing sports scores, but users know that she also has a sense of humor. There are many guides to Siri Easter eggs that reveal some of the funnier things she can do. This was the best interesting facts and history about this company. Check the channel for more video like this and don't forget to subscribe.